goes round, Nurse Morahan, will you? Yes. Fine. Over here, Nurse Brent. Oh, dear, they are fresh.
According to the kitchen, they are.
Yes, well, see those crisps are circulated, will you? That's right. Now, I want some volunteers to hand these out.
There's an Ada. Has anyone discovered? She's been here 30 years this week. Now, windy.
Really?
God, it's like a museum. This place.
Have you seen some of the photos? They're prehistoric to say the least.
Look at this one, will you?
Is that on the right? Do you recognise it? Recognise what? The frozen smile.
Not to mention the costume. She looks like she's strapped to a lamppost. It was taken while she was a ward sister.
Here's one of her as a student.
Let's have a look. What's all this about then?
Wendy's been in the loony bin 30 years. She looks different.
Younger.
Less
fraught.
well, she hadn't come across you then, had she?
She was pretty.
Well, not pretty exactly.
Oh, Wendy.
Pretty?
Attractive then.
Well, she still is, come to that.
Well, who are all these other nurses then?
She must be friends of hers. Oh no, they're her students. Every student she's ever taught. They're all there. Us too, somewhere.
You mean she's got us pinned up there?
She once said she could remember the name of every student she ever taught at St. Angela's.
Never.
Well, that's what she told me.
Hung, drawn and quartered.
Eh?
Well, each one in its own little frame, carefully dated and put behind glass.
That's her way of keeping the past alive, I suppose. Like wedding photographs, pictures of your nearest and dearest.
Well, except there aren't any, are there? Pictures of friends or relatives, just lots of students, hundreds of them.
Now then, when she comes in, I want you
Is it
all...
true she's been here 30 years, Miss White?
That's the whole point of the exercise. Now, when she comes in, I want you all to...
Windy, this is your life.
Just a little anniversary celebration. All together now. For she's a jolly good fellow.
Give us a
All right, all right. I'll try and think of something to say. It was more or less suggested to me today that I was out of touch. Not only with the ward situation, but with you, my students. I remember we had a teacher at school we thought the same about. His name was Swallow. He was an English teacher, and he had a consuming passion for his subject. He had a genuine vocation.
Here we go. Not another epic.
He used to read aloud to us in class. Milton, Henry James, whatever he could lay his hands on. He used to stand up there in front of us, acting all the parts, arms flaying, voice thundering. Just what we used to do. Laugh at him. It was difficult not to. Somewhere along the line, the laughter stopped. We grew to resent him. We resented the apparent irrelevance of the classes, the intrusion into our lives, his automatic assumption that we shared his vocation.
What's she going on about?
He'd made this total commitment to his subject. Looking back, I realized that that was what we resented most, because it exposed us for what we were, directionless, like leaves tossed in the wind, getting nowhere and achieving nothing. Much later on, I realized that Swallow had taught me something after all. Not by anything he said, but by what he was, by his example, his commitment. He taught me that, in the end, a person is measured by his work, by the skill he achieves in it, the effort he puts into it. quality of the work reflects the quality of the man. As my students, ex-students, some of you, you are the best judges of the quality of my particular work, and therefore of me. And the turnout here today, well, I take it as a kind of testimony. And I thank you for it.
Quite the orator.
Was it too much, do you think?
On how much something?
What was all that about?
Windy's raison d'etre.
Oh, yeah.
No, honestly, didn't you hear her?
I heard her.
Is this all we've got to drink?
Thought it was quite good myself.
I'm not in the mood for Windy's homespun homilies, not at the moment.
Oh, well, it's only for a few minutes. Just grin and bear it. After all, it is her day.
30 years in nursing.
Nursling.
Miss Windrop.
What do you think of that then?
What do I think of what then?
Ignore her. She's after the limelight.
Oh, Windy's speech. Made sense, I thought.
Did you?
Didn't you?
The quality of the work reflects the quality of the man.
And what's wrong with that?
Nothing, if you're mug enough to believe it. The divine calling.
Vocation. Nursing wouldn't last long without it.
Too right, my love. She always like this.
Oh, only 90% of the time.
Look, it's vocation that's kept us down all this time. It's a giant con, no more, no less.
How'd you make that out?
The aura of nursing. The lure of those crackling white aprons. That's what made us go in for nursing in the first place, never mind vocation.
Well, speak for yourself.
Not to mention the 3-year slog of students, or the sheer hard graft, or about what happens on the wards.
Okay, so why do we stay in it then?
Security, habit, because we lack the courage to do anything else.
It's a very bleak view of human nature, Sandra.
I don't feel I've been conned into anything.
Neither do I.
You do.
Sometimes, yes.
Explain.
It's the image we have, isn't it? Mopping the fevered brow and all that. You know how I spent the afternoon? Laying out a patient, a suicide, a girl younger than me. They don't put that in the recruitment posters, do they?
Well, they're hardly likely to, are they?
We've all had jobs like that to do, Sandra.
Yes, but you're a teacher now, though, aren't you? Out of it. Sorry.
I can still remember what it's like.
Parents were there. I wanted to talk to them, comfort them maybe, but I couldn't.
No?
No. I kept remembering what you taught us. The anonymity of the uniform, how it's our armour there to protect us, to stop us from getting involved. But what if we want to get involved? What if we want to start acting as individuals?
There's not much you can say in those circumstances.
I'd still like to have tried.
What is it you're trying to say now, Sandra? Well, you've come this far. You may as well finish.
It's turned into our gospel, hasn't it? In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was vocation.
I thought you were talking about involvement.
Was I?
Rather your lack of it. For which you blame me, if I understand you correctly.
Not just you.
How long have you been here, Sandra?
Pardon?
How long since you came to St. Angela's?
3 years, just over.
3 years. Long enough to get to know a person, wouldn't you say?
I reckon.
To form an opinion about them.
Perhaps.
3 quite crucial years for most of you. Years of development, of change. Yet you haven't, Sandra. You're still the same girl who walked into my classroom 3 years ago. The same truculence, the same unchanged self-certainty. Change implies taking risks, making mistakes, learning from those mistakes. You don't make mistakes, do you, Sandra? Because you don't take risks. You play it safe, look after number one. Self-preservation, I suppose you call it, and that's the reason you don't get involved. You can't. You're not prepared to. You're not prepared to risk the pain that involvement often entails. You've, copped out. Isn't that the term?
And you haven't.
If I have, I don't look elsewhere for a scapegoat. How are your glasses, girls? We ought to be able to polish this off.
Oh, I don't think I ought to have any
Oh, come on now.